Hello folks, welcome to the factory. My name is Sasha and I'll be your guide. I want to take a bit of time to open up to you folks today about, well, I guess, a lot of things. First off, I made this doll in a... how can I phrase it? I'd say I made her a bit like I was in a art therapy session, if that makes sense. I've been pretty open about the last 6 months being kind of dark, and even if I am leagues better today, some feelings lingered and I wanted to see if I could channel that into a heart piece. I chose Draculaura as a base for this project because she is a very easy canvas to work on. Her face sculpt is beautiful, and I thought she was one that could pull off many a style of face-ups. I also wanted to be able to focus on a piece where I could drop the usual rules I put on myself and just go with whatever I felt in the moment. So I did not plan her, and I decided to not allow myself to overthink about it or obsess over details. I also wish to avoid any sort of frustration that could be caused by being a little perfectionist. After cutting her hair really short, I placed the doll head in a heat-proof container that was filled with boiling temperature water. And then about 2 to 3 minutes later, the vinyl was soft enough so I could pull her head off without much difficulty. I then grabbed some tweezers and I removed the stubbles of hair from the inside of her head using the opening of the neck hole. To clean her face, I used some heavy-duty nail polish remover that is listed as being 98% acetone. Cleaning a doll of her old hair and factory paint is always a satisfying process. It's the first thing you do that makes sure that now there's no turning back. Each piece customized is reborn, and this is where they are shedding their past, so to speak. I was careful to not remove the black on her scalp because I wanted to give her black hair, but as you know, later on I did reconsider. When it came to her face-up, which for me is the most important step, I wanted to just dive into emotions and use colors as I felt it. This meant being rough and sometimes doing things that I would not do normally. But I was not making this doll to satisfy any prying audience, but to channel my feelings. So I embraced it and decided to trust the process regardless. Like I mentioned earlier, the last month had been particularly rough. I needed a break from a lot of things. I was emotionally exhausted right before the winter, and then some things happening in my life made me sink deeper and deeper into what I can only describe as a cold, dark place. Depression is a demon that hides in your shadow. It observes calmly and then gently whispers in your ear when you least expect it. Then, at its side, you often found its companion, anxiety. This one is not inherently evil, it simply wants to protect you. Though its fears are sometimes so intense that you can get lost into them, as if a storm raged on in your head. I've been living with both of these since, well, many years now. You never truly get used to it, and even if you are mostly stable or medicated or even followed by a good professional, times where things become really hard still happens. I've learned over the years that it's okay to feel even the deepest and darkest emotions that resides inside us, and it's okay if it takes time. I think I speak for many people if I say that life has been difficult those last couple of years. My case is hardly unique, even though everyone walks a different path. I am not saying all of this to fish for support or validation or pity. I am saying this because I think it's important that we normalize talking about that. Depression is taboo and anxiety is often disguised as motivation. We put a great deal of effort into looking like we are perfectly alright, even when we don't. Don't you think we would deserve some compassion? I think so, yes. Starting from ourselves. Folks, I'm no professional and I am not here to tell anyone what to do. I am simply one human on a healing journey, like a lot of us are. This doll is part of my process. Passion is, in my eyes, the strongest driving force that resides in my heart. I often say that it's everything, and I mean every word. I am the kind of artist that loves to feel everything with all they have at the moment. To touch things, smell them, being hands-on in the medium. I'm the kid that spreaded paint all around themselves, even on their own body, when trying to paint. We are beings of feelings, and sensitivity can be both a gift and a curse. Sometimes we don't get a say in this, sometimes we do. We can't choose the emotions rising inside of us, but we can choose how to act. And I chose to make a doll and turn the feelings that still lingered into something beautiful. I do not wish to glorify sadness or depression. Art in my art is meant to evoke something in the viewer. It's also meant as a form of expression for the artist, something that goes beyond word. This is what this doll is for me, and I genuinely love her with all my heart. I apologize for the slight continuity error. It was as I went to prepare their hair that I pulled back and painted her scalp and glossed her lips. Filming myself working on doll hair is a little hard and awkward, though I decided to try something with my new setup. I cut strands of white acrylic yarn about double the length that I want the hair to be. Of course, yarn is delicate and there's always a limit of how long you can go. It's to be noted that you will lose a lot of it when processing it, both in length and thickness. I wrap the unraveled strands on a plastic hanger to make it easier for me to do the next step, which involves a lot of flat ironing and some brushing. Basically, you do both until you feel satisfied with how the fibers look. I like to flat iron first and not overbrush, just to make sure I can keep the hair as long as I can, but I do try to remove all the lumps that I see as I go. You also want the hair to flow together and not stay bunched up a bit like it was before you started brushing and flat ironing. The doll's head is placed on a big spool of sewing thread that I protected with some scrap fabric. Sometimes I use kitchen plastic too. And the strands of hair are glued directly on the doll with some Mod Podge, which I think not only holds well but also dries faster than some other glues. It is best to start gluing the hair from the bottoms up, circling the scalp and going up in a somewhat spiral fashion. The hardest spot will be where the hair forms the part, and this is why it is often kept as the last thing we do. I marked the part placement with a faint line of pencil. Then I put the glue on and placed the hair to flow on the opposite side of where I want it to sit at the end. The aim is to wait for it to dry completely and then flip it, hiding the roots and the glue all together in one fell swoop. To help me press the hair into place, I used a butter knife that was heated in my flat iron. Yarn is very easy to shape or even sculpt with a bit of heat. I think I learned that trick watching Delightful. To make sure to isolate the hair on the opposite side of the part, I use some kitchen plastic to wrap the rest of the hair and keep it in place. It's so that I don't grab extra when I go and flip that section later on. I press the fibers in there with the flat side of my butter knife, now cooled off, just to make sure that the hair glues really tightly in place. I want the part to be clean, precise, and straight. This is completely optional and even a bit risky, but I use the leftover hair to plug some holes around the hairline at the front. It's best you do not do this after a face-up, however, because any strain you put on the vinyl could potentially crack the sealant on the face. It's to note that I also used way more hair than the amount I processed on camera to cover the whole head. I would say about 3 times as much. When it came to dressing the doll, I also decided to not overthink it. I'm not really good at sewing, and there's a lot that I genuinely do not understand, but I did not want to feel stuck or limited. I simply grabbed whatever scrap I had around and any embellishment that inspired me in the moment and started testing things, looking at shapes and textures and colors and all of that. During the last year of my doll journey, there were a lot of moments when I would try to push myself too hard to attain a level of craftsmanship that I would then judge to be maybe worthy to stand alongside the other artists that are in this community. Often it was met with some roadblocks and frustrations, and I redid many pieces just to try to have them look a bit better or a bit tighter or a bit more finished. I decided that on that doll I wanted none of it. I was just going to construct something the best I can for the sake of it looking good and not for looking perfect. With all those feelings that I had held inside and controlled and even tried to suppress, I found the experience of making that doll extremely freeing. It's like when you allow what's natural to come forward and finally drop that heavy mask on the ground in front of you. I think I will keep using that mindset and approach when it comes to other dolls I may make in the future. The more I worked on that doll, the more I could see the journey she represented. I tapped into what appealed to me and made a piece that reminded me a lot of the drawings I used to make as a teenager. I used to absolutely hate the person that I was back then, but I've been actively trying to face these feelings and embrace that unwanted part of me, and I think I am on the path of healing right now, and this is very comforting. This doll is also very comforting. The process was raw and uninhibited, almost instinctual. She is dark yet delicate. She looks sad yet she pulls you in. And as you will see with her outfit as it makes itself, she reminds us of the cold night, but is warm and still full of light. And I think it's the perfect metaphor to describe the journey many people are on at the moment. Because, yeah, I'm talking about me and my own feelings, but I know that a lot of you relate. If my heart piece and the words I put in out there today in this video makes you think, then I've reached the impact that I desired I would have by pushing my fears on the side and releasing that video. I'm still trying to find my footing as a YouTuber, and I think I might have stumbled upon something, and A lot of you leave me comments about how my voice makes you feel relaxed, and I thought I'd use that voice to talk about something I feel is important. Also, isn't there a saying that says that the destination is not the most important thing, but the journey is? There is a comment that was left on one of my videos last year that I think I could never forget. This person said that they had very dark feelings and thoughts and they were ready to act on it. Then they watched my video, got distracted and reconsidered. I will not lie, this comment, it made me cry. It's a reminder that we always have a greater impact than we think. That words and art and everything we put out there can be powerful, and something as simple as one word can move people to their core. And I am extremely proud of this person for choosing to fight. And I am very proud of everyone else in here or not that is fighting to keep their head out of the water to survive, or that is trying just their best to make small steps towards something better. This is so important, very important, and we need to remember that we are valid, that our feelings do matter, and that we are loved, and that we do have an impact. I mean, if I can have an impact sitting in my room on the third floor of one of the many apartment buildings crammed into some city, then you can as well. Sometimes we just take a moment to realize it, and it's perfectly okay. That's how I see things, and these are words I remind myself all the time as I keep going through this life. So I thought I would share, though this is just me being candid. You decide how you take it. And I'll say it, it's completely fine if you don't agree with me. To each their own. As a funny side note, I realized at this stage that my doll had blue purplish eyes and long white curly hair with tiny braids. I just can't I just can't unsee the resemblance with Daenerys from Game of Thrones, which was completely accidental. But I just love long flowy hair, what can I say? I love adding a lot of details to my dolls, and there was a lot of different inspirations that came into that design. I just set off and decided I would stop when I felt good about the piece. When I am in the zone, I tap out. I get focused on what's in front of me and it feels like time stops for a while. Then I go, and it's sometimes really hard to pull out or take pauses. I used to not like it, feeling like I would go too intensely in there and losing any meaning the piece I was working on could have, but not today, not on that one. I love the chaos about that outfit, the conflicting shapes, patterns, and a bit of the colors, the nonsense of it all. It's everything and nothing all at once, and that's oddly a very good description of my personality. This piece of clothing was something that I made out of a comment that I received on Instagram after I posted a picture of the face up. That person said that my doll looked like she had some bits of frost covering her face. So I decided to make her a warm shawl, or maybe I should call it a cape, just to make sure that she stays cozy in the long winter nights. I sandwiched some brushed out yarn between layers of faux fur to add a bit of variation. I felt that leaving the thing only pure white was going to clash a little. And I don't know, I mean, I'm on all those textures, having like a big shape of pure white felt out of place. It was like too clean and too perfect. I have honestly no fashion sense when it comes to shoes, and I honestly question my own taste sometimes. Though I picked that pair because I thought I could make them fit nicely into the overall composition. Then after painting them, I went, well, in another direction color-wise and decided to use a gold paint marker on them. Then I finished the job by using a combination of watered down black and brown paints, just to try to dirty the colors a bit and give it a bit more wear and character. The last thing I did for this doll is, I think, the element that ties everything together and wraps the story of this girl. I made her a lantern, using a combination of warbler, craft foam, hot glue, and some super glue. I guess this is who and what she is. A Lightbearer. She is a kind spirit that wanders the night in the cold forest, surrounded by snow and trees. When you lose yourself into the storm, she finds you, and the warm light of her lantern guides you toward a better tomorrow. That's my art piece. Like usual, you folks are free to leave me comments about anything, and I'll do my best to read everyone and reply when I can. I hope this video makes you think, and that the journey inspires you. And also, don't you dare worry about me. I am the happiest I've ever been in my life right now. I will now show you how she looks all put together. I am really happy with the result, and I hope you like her. I'll see you in my next video, and in the meantime though, please be safe.